This token right here is one of the top performing tokens over the last 30 days. We can see the token is up almost 4x in the 1 month time frame and is up almost 8x on the 1 year time frame. And there's one catalyst, a phenomenon that I've never spoken about before, that led to this big leg up that we've observed since the beginning of July. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you exactly what this catalyst is and how you can embed it within your Web3 brand, no matter what is it that you're building, whether you're launching a token, an NFT, a product, or an agency. This phenomenon is one that you can use and one that I've observed work across the board, which is why I've actually trained my team on it. And today, I'm going to be sharing it publicly for the very first time. And if this is the first time we meet, I'm Leon Aboud. I'm the founder and CEO at Unfungible. And what we do is that we help brands launch and scale their presence in Web3. We've worked with some of the top brands in the space. The portfolio of our brands currently sits a little bit over $10 billion in FDV. And what I do for a living is I study and understand what is currently working in Web3 marketing and how do we implement it with the brands that we work with. Before we talk about the one catalyst that led to the recent rally up, there's a couple honorable mentions because REKT is a complex case study. There's a lot of things that go in to make it what it is. This is not a one-shot pony that it was one thing that led to the success. REKT has been around for the last 4 years. The brand started 3 years ago with the launch of an NFT collection. But this brand has been in the building with the founders, OSF and Mando, creating content in Web3, building their own personal brand. So this case study has been in the making for over 4 years. And a couple of things that are worthy of mentioning are, number one, the founder funnel. Both OSF and Mando have very respected brands that they've been building over the last couple of years. And them alone have a lot of pull. They have the ability to reach a lot of people just through their own personal brands. Number two, their product with REKT is new and novel. For those of you who don't know, REKT, what they've done is they are the first beverage company to come out of crypto. Just like Pudgy Penguins were the first toy company to come out of crypto, REKT did the same with beverages. So the concept of a made in Web3 mass consumer brand in the beverage space is something that we haven't seen before. So it was very new. It was novel and it was interesting for a lot of people. The third thing that is worth mentioning is that REKT over the last 12 months did a very good job at hijacking word of mouth in real life events. I remember I myself have been to a handful of in real life events around Dubai, in Singapore, in New York. And all of the big events I would go to, I would find the REKT beverages there. Although REKT wasn't there, they weren't sponsoring, they weren't part of the team, they weren't part of the organizing team. You could just see REKT beverages around. So they did a very good job at being omnipresent around in real life events. And I remember I would sip on a REKT and I would have a conversation with a friend of mine. I was like, what do you think of this? Is it good? Do you like it? So they did a very good job at being omnipresent during these high density events. Another honorable mention is that REKT have very good branding. Just the name of the brand REKT is very memorable, it's memeable, it's funny, and it's relevant. It resonates with the crypto people. If the ticker was called Drink, I don't think it would have rallied the community that it has, but REKT is funny. So that's another honorable mention. Then something that they did very well is that they were able to arbitrage other hot ecosystems and communities. So one of the things that they did very commonly is that they would partner with big blockchains, or they would partner with big protocols. With Abstract, for example, when Abstract was getting all the attention, they did a drink in partnership with Abstract. So they were able to rally. I remember seeing a lot of Abstract streamers drinking REKT during the live streams. So they were able to leverage hot ecosystems and communities and arbitrage that to get attention. And the last thing I'll mention here is how they positioned themselves as a community-first brand, which allowed them to arbitrage the support of their community. We've spoken about this a handful of times on this channel, but a big reason why Pudgy Penguins has become Pudgy Penguins is not because of the marketing team of Pudgy Penguins. It's because of the community of Pudgy Penguins all of a sudden becoming the marketing team for the brand. Each holder of Pudgy, each community ambassador These people become the word of the people that will crusade the flag, that will create word of mouth, that will introduce their friends to the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem. Web3 is community first marketing, and REKT was able to position themselves very well. A big way they did this was by buying back their tokens anytime they sold out their drinks. They even gave 5% of the company's ownership to NFT holders. So they've positioned themselves as a community first brand. I put a post out that says, should I make a case study about REKT? And the whole REKT community rallied behind it, and my comment section was filled with people rocking the REKT PFP. That's an example of community arbitrage. The concept that I want to introduce you to is called the law of the category. And the marketer who's mastered this is no other than Claude Hopkins. So Claude Hopkins is considered by many the father of modern marketing. One of his specialties and the things he was known for is his ability to take a product in a very saturated and commoditized industry, take that brand and turn it into a category king. A great story that reflects this point is one of Claude Hopkins' clients was Schlitz Beer. Schlitz Beer were a very average beer brand in the United States. They were neither that special, neither that good, neither premium. They were very average. They were anywhere between number 6 or 7 when it came to sales in the US. When they took them on as a client, one of the things Claude Hopkins did is he went to the brewery for the beer and he took a tour of how they were doing the beer. So he was with the manager going through the beer and he was taking notes, just listening in on the beer making process. So the manager was taking him through. He was like, so we use this type of water for our making process, and then we get this barley from this region of town, and then we use these brown bottles because they prevent the sunlight from ruining the beer, and then we filter our beer using this filtration system. And Claude Hopkins was just walking through with him, just listening in. And then the manager stops him there. He's like, by the way, Mr. Hopkins, nothing that I share with you is unique and special. Every single beer company does the same thing. So Mr. Hopkins goes back to his office and then he comes up with a unique angle that no one else in the marketplace has hit on. And that is the angle, the marketing angle of beer purity. He revolved his entire marketing strategy around the color of the bottle that Schlitz was using, which was the brown color beer, and how this protected the beer from sunlight and made the beer more pure. So all of a sudden, he was able to take something that was very ordinary. Every single beer brand were using the brown beer bottle, but he was able to take this and to make it special and unique. And he educated the customers in the US of why they use the brown beer. And all of a sudden, Schlitz positioned themselves as the purest beer in America. And they all of a sudden went from number 6 to number 1 in sales. All through this one strategy of positioning themselves as a category king and creating their own category in a very commoditized and saturated industry, which is the beverage industry. And this right here is the secret, ladies and gentlemen. The ability to go from competing in a red ocean right here, where you are one of many, into competing in a blue ocean where the competition is irrelevant. This is the ultimate goal of marketing. And this is the strategy that Claude Hopkins mastered. By the way, if you want to learn more about the blue ocean strategy and how you can use that strategy to position yourself in an industry where the competition is irrelevant, I have a full case study about this, which I'm going to be linking at the end of this video. Now, going back to REKT, the reason why this is important is because previously REKT was one of many. They were another company, another crypto project with a token. They are not the first company that happens to sell in real life products with a token. They are not the first company that has a mass market consumer brand. They are definitely not the first company that have beverages. I personally know the founder of a brand that does energy drinks. It's also made in crypto company. I know people who do that in coffee. I know people who do that in every category of mass consumer brand, whether drinkables or consumables, chocolates, even cannabis. This is not a completely new category that they've created. However, one of the things they were able to do very well that recently triggered this huge rally and catalyst is what they were able to do, which is that they were able to name their category. What REKT was able to do is they were able to give a name to their category and position themselves as the first brand coin, a term that was never used before. If we go to this post by OSF that was made in May 20th of 2025, he introduced REKT as the first ever brand coin and describes this new phenomenon as a coin who is not a security, but is not a meme coin, and it is the intersection of the two. A coin that is driven by a narrative and attention, but is also connected to a larger entity and a larger project. So he first introduced this concept in May of 2025. And then he doubled down on it in this article, the REKT paper, REKT, crypto's first brand coin. And then in that, he goes in depth into what is a brand coin? What makes it different than a meme coin? Why is it not a security? What are the tokenomics? What is the tokenized culture element of it? How does it work for the community? What is the REKT flywheel? So he goes in depth explaining what exactly is the brand coin and how does it work. And here's where it gets interesting. When was this article published? July 7th of 2025. Where's July 7th of 2025? This is July 7th of 2025. It was the beginning of the upward rally that led to the brand breaking every all-time high for 2 weeks consecutively. When you couple the law of the category with the bullish market sentiment and the altcoin season and people starting to look for that next play they're gonna park their money in, this created the perfect catalyst that led to the brand's growth. And it took OSF doubling down on the concept of the brand, crypto's first brand coin, which all of a sudden positioned them as their unique category. And a big reason why this is so important is because in crypto, a lot of the terms that are used are very ephemeral. They're like blockchain, decentralized. They're very big terms that mean a lot, but also mean nothing. They're hard to visualize. And that is what blockchain is for most of people. When they think of another token, when they think of they see another project, they just see them as that. It's just another project. And oftentimes all it takes is a term that will help people categorize the thing, and all of a sudden it clicks. It's like, ooh, I get it. And when they get it, they can talk about it. Which is why in the last 2 weeks, I've been seeing REKT being mentioned in threads. Here's a new evolution of crypto. Here's what the new meta, the new narrative of crypto is gonna look like, introducing brand coins. We've been seeing REKT being used more often in spaces and podcasts and live streams because all of a sudden it clicked in people's brains. They were able to take a concept that is very foreign, make it click. Think about your favorite brands, your favorite blockchains. Abstract, they coined the term consumer blockchain. So they were the first to use and coin the term consumer blockchain. Boom, it clicked. Think of Kaito. They coined InfoFi. It makes sense, InfoFi, I understand. Think of Ethos Network, reputation on chain, Humanity Protocol, proof of humanity, Portal Coin. A big reason why Portal Coin was gained the traction that it had back in the days was because they were the first to coin the term SocialFi. They were not the first people to have an engagement questing campaign with a gamified features attached to it, but they were the first to coin it. Pudgy Penguins, the first crypto native IP. Even Unfungible, the concept that we are known for today is the founder funnel. It is a term that, people before founder funnel, people thought of founder-led marketing, but it was a very generalized term, founder-led marketing. We took that and we packaged it in what is today the founder funnel, which feels more structured. It feels like it has more meaning than just founder-led marketing. This is an example of seizing your category by being the first to give it a name. And this is the reason why REKT today has become synonymous with success, is because they have created their own success by creating their own category, and by consequence have become number one at it. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a strategy that you can use today. You create your own category by giving it a name, by being the first to give it a name. Because trust me, even if you feel like you're competing in a very saturated, very commoditized, everyone's doing the same thing, there is something special about what you are doing that can allow you to give it a name, to position it differently, to do something that has never been seen before, or to name it in a very unique way. Trust me, when you combine that with the marketing of the founder funnel, and you put behind it a marketing budget with the influencers, plus you combine with it a community, you arbitrage your community, you use your community to further amplify that, and then you have the market pushing with you, not against you, that is how you have the REKT case study. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Leon Aboud. If we're not connected on X, make sure we do @LeonAboud_. And if you want to learn even more about how you can position yourself as a king in your category by building your own blue ocean and standing out, I made a full video case study breaking down exactly just that, which you can watch right here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you next video. Cheers.